Morning, rise and shine. It is Thursday morning. It is July the 10th, and this is Coffee Talk. Apologies, running a couple of minutes behind. I didn't even put my watch on today. Just trying to get dressed, trying to do the things, and I lost track of time. So, anyway, sorry about that. Good morning, though, to you. It is a beautiful start. Let's take a live look outside. There's Spaceship Earth looking good this morning. I like it. Always pleasure to see that. Let's look at the quad split. See some of our other tower cams around Central Florida looking just beautiful this morning. Look at that. New Smyrna Beach. Is that like a little sea fog or is that just like sea spray on the lens? I don't know. We'll have to see. Downtown Orlando looking good. Kennedy Space Center looking good. It is a beautiful morning across Central Florida. First warning live Doppler radar. Checking in. Happy to say there's nothing really going on out there. There's one thunderstorm complex behaving itself, but you can see it there off the coast of Brevard County. That's all we've got on the map for right now. So, liking that. Temperatures out the door, mid to upper 70s. Forecast today once again brings thunderstorms in, 30 to 40% coverage. So, I do think that today's storm coverage is probably a little bit lower than what we saw yesterday. Boy, was yesterday feisty or was yesterday feisty? We had, oh, so much lightning. We had tons and tons of lightning. We had hail. And we were discussing in the Weather Center yesterday how it's not normal to see hail this time of year. Orlando got to, was it 94 yesterday? Let me look. Stand by, -1. Ba, ba, ba. Not SPC. Yesterday, temperatures got away from me. Highs yesterday. Go load the data, computer. Computer, load the data. Did we hit 95? Did we really? Let me just check. Let me make sure that that's not like a wizarded overridden number. Did we hit 95 in Orlando yesterday? It looks like we might have. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yesterday apparently hit 95. It's wild to me that in an environment where we got to 95 degrees, we were able to develop the kind of storms that developed hail. You know what I mean? That's not something that you see every day, right? So it's kind of interesting. Now, looking ahead to the weather pattern, here we are on Thursday. High pressure builds in today, which means we're going to get a slight dry up. Very slight, because by tomorrow into the weekend, as that area of high pressure shifts east of us, we're going to get more of a southerly wind. We're going to grab all that moisture from the Caribbean and we're going to drag it up into our area. And thus, rain chances are going to rise. So, thus, we get widespread showers and thunder showers. So, when we look at the rain chances next couple of days, all right, watch how we go. 50% coverage tomorrow, 50% coverage on Saturday, 60% coverage on Sunday. Just a reminder, this weekend is the Coco Air Show. Trying to get out there. It'd be a lot of fun. But you can very clearly see those storm chances don't just slow down on Sunday, they keep going. Look at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're getting into a pretty stormy pattern yet again for Central Florida. So just be ready for it, right? These next couple of days, I think the big story today, tomorrow, and even Saturday, even into Sunday, really, is going to be the heat. It's going to be very, very hot across Central Florida. Temperature averages out at 92 for a high. We will far surpass that 94 expected in the metro. So let's do this. All right. Let's look at our high temperature map for the day today, and then we can get around and start looking at futurecast. Okay. First off, highs today 94 in Orlando, 95 degrees in Sanford, 95 degrees in DeLand. With that southwest wind, we'll see the sea breeze collision yet again take place from about the metro off to the east, okay? So if you got the big storms yesterday, odds are you'll probably be getting the big storms again today. All right, futurecast time. Let's dial this up, see when the storms are going to storm. We'll start with our futurecast model, and if we need to, we'll look over at the HER and see 11, 12 o'clock, starting to see a few popcorn showers popping around the western sea breeze. On the left side of your screen, for those of you directionally challenged, I get it. But notice how by about 1:30, 2 o'clock, we're bubbling that East Coast sea breeze, which is the right side of the screen for those of you directionally challenged, right? So we see that kind of dynamic there. Watch through time here how Futurecast is trying to blow up stuff and really hold most of the activity I-4 off to the east. Don't know that's entirely what'll play out. Let's look at the rapid refresh Futurecast. It's got some stuff. All right, so then we have to go and look. Let's look at the her model. All right, so let's pull up the her. Now, Futurecast is Futurecast. The her model, it stands for high resolution rapid refresh. Okay, so it's a convective allowing model, much like our Futurecast, but it has completely different math equations. All right, so interesting. Whoa, you're super dry. All right, let's look at the her extended. Okay. All right, her extended model. This is just the same her model, but it runs in a longer form. Okay. All right. It's going with Seabreeze stuff west and east 4 p.m. and then colliding in the metro around 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so then taking that, going back to Futurecast, maybe this isn't the craziest idea. So West Coast gets going, Seabreeze collision kind of happens out east of town. Interesting. All right. So based on that, then, where are we at in terms of rain coverage today? Yeah, I guess that kind of tracks. All right. So there's your rain coverage map. Highest coverage is going to be kind of metro off to the south and east. All right. That makes sense. Does that work for you? Right? I mean, today it's not going to be it's not going to be as stormy as yet. Now, let me just share with you. I got a nice email yesterday from a checking standby. Hmm, Checking standby. Oh, hey, look at that. I opened my phone to check for the email, and if anybody's from Dallas, the Dallas News Corporation is joining Hearst, my parent company. So the Dallas Morning News, a 140-year legacy of exceptional independent journalism strengthened by Hearst's resources, scale, and industry reputation. Look at that. The Dallas News Corporation is joining my company. I love that. Okay. I was trying to look for the email. All right, stand by. If anybody's from Dallas. Sent. Okay. All right. Yes, this nice gentleman wrote yesterday. Let me read the email. Where is the blank rain? Union Park is getting nothing but thunder and not one blank drop of rain. Shove the blank computers up your blank. Now, I don't condone that, but I only say that to point out that obviously this gentleman did not get rain yesterday. Not everybody is going to be getting rain. So when we look at the 7-day forecast, today's a 40% chance of rain. That means 60% of us are not going to get stormed on. So don't get mad if that's not you. Don't send an email to us. Send an email if you have a question. I guess he had a question until he told us to shove computers. Um, so not all of us are going to get rained on today. Next couple of days we'll get more and more stormy weather around, and I think that that's just a good idea, right? Like just understand not everybody's going to get rain every day. Okay. Now, who needs the rainfall? That's a good question. Looking at the data for the year, our coastal communities are still desperately behind. Daytona Beach, 8.5 inches of rain behind. Isn't that something? That's a significant deficit. That's a significant deficit, right? Isn't that something? I think it's something. All right, let me get caught up here on the comments. I way, way, way too many comments that I did not read, and I apologize for that. While I do that, let me dial up the 7-day forecast. Stand by. Click, click, boom. Okay, perfect. Hi. All right. Good morning to you, Jamie Lopez. John, good morning to you. Got to take the garbage out, do the shower thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jamie Lopez, is this another nice email? You know. How, Futurecast shows rain around Daytona area. Looks like we'll be dry. You know, the next few days, though, notice like Saturday, Sunday, that pattern changes. So when we look at the pattern for the weekend, that high is east of us, and it's just pumping in moisture. It's just helping. Lots of green on the map for Saturday. Sunday, lots of green on the map, right? So that summertime pattern with ample showers and storms, that's our weekend forecast, right? Yeah. Let's see here. We didn't get rain in Futurecast, showed it. Not mad, just commented Futurecast has lost some of its accuracy in the last 4 to 6 months. It's not that it's lost accuracy. Different dynamics are going to play out differently in Futurecast and in all models, right? It's not these models are constantly getting updated, and sometimes they're going to do better with certain situations than others. I've found that Futurecast isn't perfect, just like everything else. And all we try to do is get it better and better and better and better. Jennifer says, I watch it from Fort Myers. I know you don't cover my area unless there's a hurricane. But when there's a hurricane, you know we're covering you. You know. Terry says one must visit the Hearst Castle in California. You know, I'm going on 20 years with my company, and I've not visited the Hearst Castle. I'll have to do it at some point. Landon says, heard there were some strong winds and hail in Seminole and Orange County yesterday. Yeah, it can see. You want to talk about the winds? Where's that graphic? Wind, wind. Where? I know I saw it. Yes. Ah, here it is. Okay. It says peak gusts today. Ignore that. Here, I'll fix it because it's going to drive me crazy. Stand by. Peak gusts yesterday. There. Now my brain doesn't hurt. Okay. Look at some of these peak wind gusts from yesterday. Executive Airport gusted to 66 miles an hour. Sanford, the Orlando Sanford International Airport, gusted to 61. Orlando International to 41. Yes, there were some nasty storms around. Janice, thank you. Thank you, Janice. No charge for the service. I appreciate you. Diane, oh my gosh, some people are brave behind a computer screen. You know, here's the thing. I gotta try and spread some kindness. That's all. Maria says, and we've got the brown lawns to prove it. It's true. There are some areas that just can't buy a raindrop. Now, with these rain chances rising the way that they are the next couple of days, certainly we should start to see more and more and more opportunities. When we look, as a matter of fact, here's the American GFS rainfall model. And let's just look through. There's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that's through Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Okay. That's one model. But notice who doesn't see the rainfall, or at least the significant opportunities of rainfall. Right? Like Daytona Beach, I'm looking at you. That's the American GFS model. Let's look at the European model. Same time frame, okay, through about next Tuesday. It's even drier for the bulk of Central Florida. Dag nabbit. What we need is some rainfall, right? We could definitely use that. Oh well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Anything at all? Anything at all? Otherwise, we can start talking tropics. Yeah. Anything? Before we talk about the Colorado State update, which Phil Klotzbach, who we've of course had on Coffee Talk and chatted with a bit. Before we get to that, let's just talk about the current state of affairs, okay? Out in the tropical Atlantic basin, which includes the Caribbean and the Gulf, super quiet. Another wave rolling off Africa. Not much doing here. Why is there not much doing? Because there's a ton of Saharan dust. Here's the next 72 hours. Look at all that. It's just hard to develop anything when you've got this happening, right? It is. And given this and a few other ingredients, Phil Klotzbach at Colorado State University put out his July update. So let's talk a little bit about this, okay? My forecast on the left side, that's not going to change. 16 to 20 named storms, 8 to 10 hurricanes, 4 to 6 major. Colorado State dropped their numbers just a little bit. The July update calls for 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. NOAA did not update theirs either. So let's talk about this. Where did these different numbers come from? Why did Phil Klotzbach and team make the modification? Well, there's a lot of wind shear in the Caribbean. There's a lot of Saharan dust across the entire basin. And Phil points out that high shear in June and July typically is associated with a less active season. Okay. I would point out, though, that we still will see storms, right? Like, even if it's not wickedly active, there still will be storms to track. A good case in point is 2022. We started a little quieter, and certainly we know Central Florida got hit several times. So it's important to keep that in mind, right? So that said, we have to watch any of these systems that do develop. But yeah, Phil Klotzbach dropped his numbers just a little bit. All right, we'll have to get Phil on at some point for sure to chat about this. All right, questions about this? Otherwise, we can move on and look at the computer models and see what may be coming straight ahead. All right. No, Betsy, I'm not going to do that. Are you ready for football season? Greg's asking. Oh, yeah, I'm ready for football season. You know that. Let's see here. What you just said about futurecast, I understand. There was something about it that was more accurate. The updates recently made it less so. I notice y'all commenting, especially Tony May, the issues. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, and then the next update will make it better again. It's the way it goes. These computer models. That's why I always say these computer models are guidance, not gospel, right? Debbie's asking, why does it rain so much more in Orlando than on the coast? So, as the sea breezes collide in Orlando, that's where you typically get the storms to fire up. Sometimes that moisture that remains will move back over to the east coast. Sometimes it doesn't. So that's kind of the overall pattern that you look for. So yeah. Suzanne says, I love Saharan dust. You and me both. You and me both. Yeah. See you, Frankie. Janice says, less active season sounds good to me. Again, we need to just stay tuned. That's all, right? All right. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the forecast from Colorado State. The next thing that we need to do, though, is we need to look at the computer models. So let's get logged in here. All right. And let's look. Hold on a second. This is the American GFS. Pressure. All right, cool. All right, here's the American GFS model. Let's just look ahead. One thing I'm looking for in particular is that slow moving low. Look at, let's go back. Okay. This is Sunday, Monday, to look at that. A little sloppy area low pressure hanging out in the Gulf. Now there's another one east of the Bahamas. That's interesting to look at. But either way, that's July 18th. Northern Gulf coastline there. Little piece of energy. And if you're new to Coffee Talk, first off, welcome. There's about 1,000 people watching this morning. Welcome to all of you. If you're new to Coffee Talk, one thing that I love to do is long range forecasting. All right. Long range forecasting is a bit of a pet project of mine. So every year I put out the seasonal forecast using perhaps some different methodology than others. The overall idea that I use is I look for weather patterns that set up and cycle over and over again. It's basically pattern recognition, if you will. Okay. And then you're able to kind of recognize where tropical activity could try to be feistiest, that sort of thing. And there's parts of the weather pattern you look for. Okay. The part of the pattern that we are entering into, I called the slow Gulf low. because every time it came around, it just kind of meandered around the northern Gulf Coast. It happened in early June, wasn't anything significant. It's going to happen again July 16th through the 23rd, somewhere in that window. Coming back to the model, what's going on there? What's that timeline? That's the 18th. Let's go. What is this? This is the 16th. Huh. That's the 17th. Huh. That's the 18th. Interesting. That's a slow moving area of low pressure. Where is it? Kind of hanging around the northern Gulf Coast? Huh. 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 Now, these potential return dates, that's not saying that it's going to hurricane those days. This is just a piece of the weather pattern that I recognized as having interesting characteristics. So, that is that. Okay. Um, the good news is it does not look like it's wanting to do anything too significant, but it's interesting to look at. So, anyway, there's that. All right. Moving right along. There is that one little area there, kind of on the right side of the screen, unorganized, but a wave of some kind. And then look at how the GFS right along like North Carolina, South Carolina is wanting to pop up like a quick low right there. What is that? That's Sunday, July 20th. So a good little ways out. Interesting. All right, so that's the GFS. Let's switch over. Let's look at the European. Something east. Broad low pressure. Look at that. So it's like a piece of energy around Florida's first coast, like a backdoor front almost. Trophiness over Florida on the 16th. And then look at how the European just does not. The Euro doesn't really develop anything in the Gulf, at least nothing significant. Maybe something. So the Euro has backed off on anything in the Gulf, which is fine. But, at the end of the day, either way, watching this part of the pattern. Okay, the GFS is hinting at it. The European has been hinting at it. Thankfully, we're not looking at any kind of a significant threat from it, but it's just a reminder. Again, these are all just subtle reminders. Hurricane season is here, and we need to be watching, and that all of that fun stuff. All right. Back here at home, you can see the rise of the rain chances, right? Like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That energy as it kind of works over from the Atlantic side into the Gulf side, that's where those rain chances are rising. And then as it gets into the Gulf, there could be some subtle development. Do I think it's going to be anything big? No. Am I overly concerned about it? No. Should you be overly concerned about it? No. But it's there. It's something to watch, right? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing, right? Right. Okay. Jamie Lopez says, those happy highs have been persistent this summer. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, Kenneth, it all October is when the new weather cycle sets up. So it's difficult. It's difficult to extrapolate out that far. You can't really use it. Janice says, love computer models. Don't put the computer where the sun doesn't shine. You need your computer. Exactly right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Deborah's asking, when does the Saharan dust end, basically? Great question. Typically in July, we start to really shut that down. And that's where hurricane season really gets fired up. Because once the Saharan dust is gone, boom. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We know somebody in Union. Sad. No mistakes, just happy little hurricanes. That's right. Put in a little hurricane in here. Put in a little hurricane over here. A nice little storm. A little happy. So funny. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Of course, Terry, my pleasure. Of course. Kenneth, I got you, buddy. Of course, my pleasure. My pleasure. And for all of you that are new, there's a few more people in here than normal, not a ton, but we're hovering right at about 1,000 on all the platforms. So good morning to those of you that are new sampling. I can tell you this much: I'm a meteorologist in Central Florida. What I do not do is hype. I literally hate it. And there's so much hype on social media when it comes to kind of overall weather. Um, I, I'm a meteorologist for WESH. I am not sitting here trying to hype things to scare you at all. As a matter of fact, I feel like this is a great platform opportunity to be able to cut down on the hype. And I love the two-way discussion that we get to have. So um, if you're here during tropical weather, we're gonna cut down the chaos, for lack of a better term. Okay. So I want to thank you for hanging with us. We're doing okay. Cannoli is still sad. Oh, poor thing. Elena, good morning to you, and absolutely my pleasure. My pleasure. Patty's asking, total washout for Disney this week from Friday to Wednesday. I wouldn't say that it's a washout. I would just say that when the afternoon storms get going, they're going to get going, right? That's all. It's a little too early to really think we're into a washout territory. I don't suspect that to be the case. Yeah. Yep. Oh, the ghosted woman on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, my friends? Did I miss anything? Let me get into the computer. Let's see. Did I miss discussing anything? Did I? Let me look. All right, we do have opportunities for significant rains. That's one other thing. We're talking about that, but like looking at Sunday into Monday, the overall coverage of rain is such that there's the potential for some isolated flooding. Thankfully, we're not into and into the likely or expected category. We're just watching. You get one cell just sitting over the same spot for a while. We could be dealing with some flooding, that sort of thing. But overall, that threat is not significant. Florida drains so beautifully. I think that that's kind of the big thing, right? But National Weather Service QPF quantitative precipitation forecast, which is just nerd for how much does the Weather Service think it's going to rain next 7 days. Widespread 2 to 4 inland, kind of 1 to 2 back over to the coastline. That's a product from the National Weather Service. Okay. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. Good times. Good times. All right. What other questions may you have? I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Daniel's asking about weather at SeaWorld. For today, I think at SeaWorld, you probably have some rumbles of thunder in the distance. It's going to be hot as blasted. But you may get a storm round, but I don't suspect it's going to be a significant concern for you, at least based on the modeling that I'm seeing. Next couple of days, it may be stormier, but yeah, for now, it's SeaWorld not significant. Leslie says, I don't have TV. This is more or less how I get future forecast when the sky booms. I do look up the Weather Channel radar. I really thank you for this, Eric. Well, Leslie on YouTube, thank you for joining. Yeah, I want to start to, do maybe some more topical just updates, not full on coffee talks, but just like quick topical updates in a venue like Coffee Talk. I'm always trying to think of how I can serve you all better. Um, Doing an afternoon coffee talk I did for a while, that burnt me right out. So I can't do that. But I'm going to work on it. I'm going to think of other ways. Suzanne says, during a hurricane, I'm glued to Eric, Tony, etc., because they're the best at keeping us informed without all the craziness and hype. That's the thing, man. I just don't understand the society that we're in wanting hype. It's like this vicious circle of, I don't know. Yeah, always going to work hard as heck to not do that for you. Yeah. Mindy, Orlando City match Saturday night. Should we expect rain? I'm just going to pop this up here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah, you're going to expect some rain. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, we're looking at storms for the soccer game. I'm sorry. As long as you know that I don't actually make the weather, that I'm just here trying to forecast it. right? Do you think we'll ever build a water pipeline to the dry west? Man, I'm a weather guy. I don't know. Oliver, it is all about clicks. About the click, no real. It's all about the clicks. About that click. Ay vey. Oh well. All right. That's what we got. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you all tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for more Coffee